Good afternoon, respected Dean, Director, distinguished academicians, esteemed faculty members, researchers, and dear participants. I, Diksha Devadarshini, Assistant Professor, and it is my privilege to welcome you all to Day 4 of our Faculty Development Program. Today's session, Industry Immersion and Inquiry Based Teaching for Future Ready Classrooms, is both timely and significant. To guide us through, it is my pleasure to introduce Ms. Bobby Patnaik. Ms. Patnaik is the Associate Vice President and HR Business Leader at Infosys
Spotlighted.
and President
Everybody only see this routine.
NHRE bringing with her more than 3 decades of distinguished experiences in human resources, people strategy, leadership development, and organizational transformation. Her leadership has been instrumental in championing diversity, equity, and inclusion, particularly in advancing women in technology, strengthening leadership pipelines, and fostering employee engagement and managerial excellence. Adding to her impressive credentials, Ms. Patnaik has pursued executive education from globally renowned institutions, including the Stanford Graduate School of Business, and holds professional certifications in AI applications for growth, Wharton Online Human Resource Leadership, and Global Professional in Human Resources. Her rich experience in understanding industry expectations, nurturing future ready talent, and leading organizational change makes her the ideal speaker for today's session. Now, please join me in extending a warm welcome to our esteemed speaker, Ms. Bobby Patnaik. Ma'am, we are truly delighted to have you with us today. The platform is all yours. Welcome.
So thank you, Diksha. Thank you for making me look much better than what I thought I do. Let me say this, I'm actually very honored to be here because when Shraddha first invited me, my first thought was, what do I teach people who themselves teach every day, right? So how do you teach to a group of people who are already probably high in the value spectrum of articulation, understanding students, understanding the curriculum and the future and all of that. But then I also thought that given the very uncertain and exciting times that we live in, today probably there is no set framework about who teaches whom, because right now I think all of us are learning the most from our own kids and students. The whole teaching paradigm per se has been flipped. And you see so much of reverse mentoring happen both in corporates and academic institutions and generally in life. So I thought, okay, that's fine then. Okay, so before we start, I just had a quick question for all of you. And the question is this: do you really see the impact of AI in your classrooms? And you can unmute and say yes, no, not sure, whatever.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And how do you see the impact? What is the indication of that impact? Can you give me a small example?
Yeah, when we are giving assignments to students, definitely within that particular time frame, they take the help of AI and they submit their assignments. We are able to know that they are taking the support of AI.
Okay. Thank you. I think that gives me an excellent segue for whatever I'm going to say, but thank you for that example. Any other thoughts that anybody else wants to share? Any thoughts or insights on those lines? Okay. So, absolutely. I think I could not see who was speaking, but this is something which has been happening across the board where you are seeing AI input or output rather being passed off by students as part of their assignment submission or a homework or a case study that they have to build and all of that, right? I see the impact of AI day in and day out in the organization that I work in and in the field that I work in, and I'll tell you how. So, for example, as part of our job, where we work as HR professionals managing a certain portfolio within a large ITS company, one of the things that we have to do consistently is work on multiple reports, talent-based reports, dashboards, insights, summaries, so on and so forth. So you could be producing attrition reports for leadership. There could be employee satisfaction reports. You could be producing, digital quotient. How many employees are in what level of digital mastery, and so many other reports, right? So typically, any complex dashboard or report that needs to be produced, assuming that all data is there, if it's a very complex dashboard, it could take anything up to 1 full week. And why it would take that much time is, there are two people working on the dashboard, then they're internally discussing, making changes, coming back to me for review. I ask for a few more changes, they go back, they incorporate that, and they, refine it, look and feel, all of that they do. So it could take anything up to 7 days. Today, can you imagine what that time has been crunched down to, the 7 days? Just take a random wild guess. Right or wrong answers. Just say whatever comes to your mind. 5 days, 6 days, 4, 7. Give any answer. There is no right or wrong answer. What do you think when we were producing earlier a dashboard or a report which took 7 days? Today, with the advent of AI, how much time do you think that must be taking? 15 minutes is what Kavita is saying. Okay, Kavita, you're very ambitious, which is very good, but we're not there yet. But anyway, so taking a cue from what Kavita said, it is produced within a day, and 15 minutes, Kavita, is probably what the actual AI tool would take to produce, but we take a little more time because there is still an iteration which happens. You want to check, the AI tool for hallucinations, for bias, and then I might not like the output that AI gives, so I want a few more changes. I want a lighter shade of the background, a darker shade, and all of that, and that's why it takes more time. But yes, that actual days have been crunched into minutes or even at the max a day. So you have two things which are happening parallelly. On one hand, time has shrunk in terms of the time taken for a job to be done. On the other hand, time has also expanded in the sense that you have now more time to do things. So time has both shrunk and time has also expanded. The second challenge that we face is that what do you do in the time that has been expanded? I know many of you would have heard about the VUCA world. Anybody who has heard about the VUCA world? I'm sure. This has been going on for years now. What does VUCA stand for? Anyone? Kavita is saying this. Hey, folks, I would like it if you unmuted and spoke. I'm fine with chat, but it will be great if you can unmute and speak. So what does VUCA stand for?
Volatile, uncertain.
Okay, I think there is a echo effect. So volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous, all of that, right? So the future today is not just uncertain. It is absolutely, there is no clarity. Yeah, thanks, Cav, for putting it there in chat. It is complex, it is ambiguous, it is all of that, right? So today, none of us, and if somebody is telling a different thing, please be assured that person is not being truthful. Nobody really, right from the CEO, CHRO to somebody who's down the line in the organizational pyramid, really knows what's going to happen in terms of the future. How is my role going to change? What am I going to do? What part of my work is completely going off? Yes, Dr. Ajit, we are okay. We were, I thought we were into Bani and now we are into VUCA, but if we were in VUCA and now into Bani, that's also fine. But essentially, yes, we are in brittle, we are anxious, it is a non-linear world, all of that, right? So whether it is VUCA or Bani, the point is that no one today knows what the future is going to look like. I don't know, for example, how my role is going to change. All I know at a very broad level is that I will move away from operational tasks. I will be needing to do more strategic stuff. I will need to develop some skills that I've never thought about. But is there complete clarity? Absolutely not. And nobody has it. So what do you, when you don't know what the future looks like, right? And this is a future which is happening by the day, not even by the month. What do you do with the time that you get back from moving out your operational tasks? How do you use it? And what is it that you develop, right? So time has shrunk and time has also expanded, and that is one of the biggest challenges. The second part, and this is a very interesting development which has happened, is that blue is the new white. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. So all these years, right, in countries like India or even in the Western countries, all parents wanted their kids to be these white collar workers. So you didn't want your kid to be a blue collar worker, to do jobs which are lower end in that sense. You want your kid to be a doctor, an engineer, a teacher, a professor, and all of that, white collar, or a corporate professional and all of that. There was a recent news that I was reading some time back, which said that given the current advent of AI and the way it is seemingly going to impact the white collar professional jobs, whether it is a corporate professional or an engineer's job or a teacher's job or what have you, kids, I think in the US or in the Western world, are actually looking to develop skills which are blue collar worker skills, which is like a plumbing or carpentry or an electrician's job or a mechanic's job, because the understanding is that these jobs probably will be few jobs which will be impacted last by AI. They will also get impacted, but that's going to take some time. Whereas the immediate impact is that of the white collar jobs of a legal professional or of a HR manager or a marketing manager. That's going to impact it fast. And not strangely, actually, parents are not okay with this. Parents are pushing back, saying that no, you cannot, go ahead and train as a mechanic or a carpenter or a plumber, because that's so not done. So that's what I meant when I said that today we're learning much more from our kids and students, because they are actually more in tune with the times in terms of what's happening and what's going to happen, and they're adapting to that future, whatever uncertain future that they're saying. Well, we or our generation or the next generation is still pulling back a little, saying that, oh, okay, this is not probably the right thing to do. So blue is the new way. The last part before I go to the what is it that we are looking at 1 year from now is, all of us know about the 4 stages of competence, right? So you go from unconscious incompetence, where you are not aware of what you lack, right? Today, for example, there are certain things that I don't know because I'm not even aware about that area of knowledge. You go from unconscious incompetence to conscious incompetence, where you know that you don't know. So if I don't know how to drive a car, I'm conscious that I'm incompetent in driving a car. So that's the second stage of competence. And then you go to a stage where you're consciously competent. So I learn how to drive the car, but I'm very nervous because I'm just learned to drive the car. So where is the accelerator? Where is the clutch? Where is the brake? I'm very conscious about the competence that I have. And finally, which is the highest level of competence, you go to unconscious competence, where you've become so adept at driving the car that you don't even think about it. You could probably take a call, which you should not, while driving, or you could, you could talk to your kids at the back seat or do whatever else, because you're so good at what you're doing. So, you're unconscious about your competence. Today in the AI era, in which stage of competence do you think we are? Do you think we are conscious about what we lack? Or you think we don't even know what we don't have? Where do you think we are in these 4 stages of competence? I want somebody other than Kavita, Dr. Ajit, Shraddha. I want somebody else, Diksha. I want somebody other than that to give a response. And again, there are no right or wrong responses, honestly, folks, because we could be in any of these. The first stage. So Kavita says we're in the first stage.
We do not know where, we are not aware what we lack.
We don't know where we lack. So essentially, we are unconsciously incompetent. So we are incompetent, but we don't even know where we lack, right? Any other thoughts to that? I mean, this is possible for a section of us. This is quite possible. But anybody who wants to try the other segments as well? We're still figuring out our incompetence. Okay. So then we would be between unconscious incompetence to maybe conscious incompetence, where we are starting to understand where we lack. right? But none of us yet are into the conscious competence, or the last stage is not even there, right? So I think more or less we are on the same page that one, we are not even sure what we lack because the future is so blurred, is what I would say. And to some extent, we are figuring out what we lack. And that is what we have probably come together here to figure out, that what is it that we lack. And when I say we, I mean as students, we as professionals, all of us, but more so because you are faculty members, more importantly, the students. What do they lack, right? So I have a philosophy, which I call the 5C, 1P philosophy, in terms of what I think, in my limited wisdom, what I think we lack. And I'm not really going to go into the bells and whistles of what is really lacking in the AI era, right? So I'm not really going to talk about, okay, people don't know tools, right? Or people are using tools wrongly, or something is better than the other, or productivity is going for low. I'm not going to go into that, because in my mind those are some of the smaller nuances of a much bigger problem. It's like the iceberg, right? All of you who have watched Titanic will know the role the iceberg plays in the movie, where the tip of the iceberg is just whatever 5% of the entire iceberg. And that's something all of us have learned as part of our competency methodologies as well, right? Competency is just the demonstrated behavior, whereas skills, knowledge, aptitude, it is the 90% of the iceberg which is not seen. So unless you have knowledge, unless you have skills, unless you have the right aptitude, your competency won't even show up in the shop floor or wherever you're working, right? So this is like the iceberg, where I feel some of these behaviors that we're talking about are just outcomes of a much broader problem, which is trait related, which is what we should be doing related in terms of developing ourselves. And unless we fix that, you can't fix this, right? You can't fix the tip of the iceberg unless the iceberg itself has moved away or broken or whatever. And the iceberg is this, in my view. Like I said, 4C, 5 C's, and 1P. Okay. And the first C, in my view, is content. And why do I say content? Because I see in many of my interactions today with students or with others as well, where they feel that communication, and when they say communication, most of them think that communication is about either talking in English or talking very fast. Okay, so if you talk in English and you talk very fast, that is communication. And that can actually camouflage any flaws that you have in content. Nothing could be further from the truth. In my view, communication is very important, and I'll come to it. It's in fact one of the C's in 5C. But communication is expressing what you want to be expressed in a way that the other person understands. That is communication. Talking in flowery language, big words, great English, talking fast, none of that is communication. And what will really make the needle move today is content. And I'll give an example. And some of you must have read about this example as well. So there is a top global consulting firm, and I'll not take names here because these are large corporate firms. It was hired by a particular government, again, a particular country's government or a continent's government, to produce a major advisory report. And what happened was a junior team used AI to bring that report together. However, the junior team did not have content. It is like you have not undergone an MBA in marketing and you are suddenly asked to publish a marketing report. So you just go to AI, whatever, Claude or whoever, and say that, give me a marketing report, and you just reel it off. You will not know what the report is saying. More importantly, why is it saying what it is saying, right? Because you don't have the content, you don't have the foundations, you don't understand the terminologies, you've not done case studies, right? You don't have the deep insights which is needed. So these people, the junior team, obviously did not have that required content. So this AI report actually hallucinated. They published a report which had wrong citations, wrong quotes. The quotes were never ever told by anybody. They created the AI team created some footnotes of its own. And because this junior team did not have the domain knowledge, they could not spot the issues that were cited in the report. And the report was actually published by this top consulting firm. There was one university researcher, one person like all of you, who caught the errors. Not only was the top consulting firm forced to apologize, they had to actually refund part of the contract, and the contract was huge. If I remember correctly, it was some $290,000, $290K. So part of that they had to actually refund back because of this mistake. So the point is here, and I think I heard one of you say that, right? Today we see students just publishing assignment reports based on whatever AI has given them, and it sounds so fluent, it sounds so authoritative, right? But you don't know, you don't have the knowledge, you don't know what a performance management framework looks like, you don't know what a KRA is, you don't know what a KPI is. You don't know, what for example, how do you calculate the revenue of an organization or the operating margin? You don't know what is the difference between top line and bottom line. You just don't understand the report, but you publish it, and you lack content, right? Is this something that you see happening? You can raise your hand, maybe, or just put it in chat saying yes, no. Do you see this kind of thing happening with your students as well? Yes, no. Nobody sees this happening. So this is happening just in corporate organizations. So you don't see people producing reports where they themselves have no knowledge about the foundation of that report. You don't see that happening in classrooms. Yes, and to justify that AI gives more complete answers. Okay, yeah. But for you to understand the complete answers, you will really need to know that, right? So that is the first C. I'm a little cognizant of time. So that's the first C. The second C is context. And content without context is nothing, especially in today's day and world. I'll give another example for that. So Air Canada, the airlines, right? They have a website where one of their customers inquired about so his grandmother had passed away. The customer's grandmother had passed away. So he was checking whether, because of a bereavement in the family, right? There is a death in the family. There are differential flying rates which are available, as in discounted rates which are available, etc. So Air Canada's website probably uses an AI chatbot. So the AI chatbot told the customer that, yeah, you buy a full price ticket, but you can actually claim a refund within 90 days. You can claim a refund. Which he went ahead and bought the ticket and he claimed the refund. And it was found out that there is no such policy that Air Canada has. The AI chatbot has completely invented and given him an incorrect policy, or maybe they have a policy, but it does not actually say you can buy a full price ticket and reimburse it. The gentleman went to court. Air Canada apparently argued in court that the chatbot is a separate legal entity. As in, they said this is not part of, chatbot is a separate legal entity. Air Canada is a separate legal entity. The judge completely rejected it. And they said that you are bound by the AI's output. I'm not sure whether there was penalty paid to the customer, but the case of Air Canada was completely thrown out by the court. Unless you have context to what content you're presenting, the same content, if it is happening in India, has a different flavor to it, as opposed to if it's happening in Pakistan, Africa, US, or whatever. The same content happening right now here and happening 2 years back when the situation was very different, the economy was very different, the politics was very different, has a completely different flavor to it and has a completely different outcome to it. So unless human beings, students, professionals are able to apply their judgment and align AI outputs with what is really happening in the world, policy, legal realities, what's happening in the organization, you can't really manage. Imagine if a human resource professional is just going by what AI has told and not using his or her brains as to what's happening in the organization. And situation could be so different in a private company, in an IT company, in a manufacturing company, in a public sector company, in government, right? And in an academic institution. So the outcome will vastly different. So unless you have context, Content also does not matter. I'm going a little fast to just be able to keep in time. Okay. Third, and this is about clarity. And when I say clarity, it means whether you're able to differentiate signal from noise. Okay. So there is this something called a James Webb Space Telescope. So this telescope is I think the sharpest, the biggest telescope in the world, space telescope. It's actually able to throw back the scientists into, to see galaxies and stars some 13 billion years back. So sometime I think in 2023 or 21, there was a high stakes public launch of Google's AI chatbot. I think it was called Bard at that point of time. So Bard generated an error, which was a real factual error regarding this James Webb Space Telescope. And they gave the AI chatbot gave a very detailed paragraph. If you read the paragraph, it looks very convincing, but it contained one error which kind of delivered completely wrong information, creating a stock market havoc. And it actually wiped up some $100 billion from Alphabet's market value in one single day. Right? So AI will generate a vast amount of noise. If today also you go and give a prompt to AI, which is very generic, right? You will find so much of data, information coming out that you just don't know what to take and what. And that is why today prompt engineering has so much of value, right? Because unless you are able to give the exact, specific, contextual prompt, what you will actually receive is not something that you can use. And that's true for everybody, right? So the ability to filter out and verify core facts before giving an insight, which is the clarity part of it, is the third C, which is so important when we are teaching our students whatever we are teaching. Fourth, and I think this ties in exactly to what theme you have today for the rest of the session, which is curiosity. Inquiry, critical thinking, prompting, all of that. And this is a case which happened, I think this was a research done by Stanford. So Stanford apparently found that hallucination rates on, I think, direct legal queries were between 58% to 88%. And there was this famous case called some Avianca case, if I remember correctly, where a New York law firm filed a legal brief. Okay. And the legal brief had 6 court cases. These court cases they filed with the judge to back up their case, their perspective. The judge apparently asked for precedent. So if all of you have seen some of these courtroom dramas, generally the judges look for whether this has happened earlier, like there is a precedent, and what was the outcome. So they benchmark it against the earlier precedents. So the judge asked for the precedent. When the judge asked for the precedent, they found that all the 6 court cases which they had cited in their brief, was generated by ChatGPT, and all of them were fake. ChatGPT had completely invented 6 court cases, which they had blindly used without asking a deeper question, a follow-up question, cross-examination, auditing the AI output, nothing of that sort. The judge, I think if I remember correctly, the firm was fined $5,000 in sanctions. Right? So critical thinking and curiosity, because AI will rarely give you the complete truth on a single query, unless you are digging deeper, unless you're testing assumptions. In our MBA colleges, there used to be the simple thing, right? That, if there are 2 people and 2 bowls of soup are served, one of them just goes ahead and drinks the soup, and the other person, one person actually tastes it and then asks for salt, and the other person simply asks for salt. It means that he's just going blindly, assuming that there is no salt in the soup, or it's like so. The ability to just not go blindly with assumptions, but to test assumptions and asking, how do you know this? I think all of us have learned that fishbone tool of 5 W's and 1 H, right? Who, what, when, where, why, and most importantly, how, right? So a very simple tool, which we have learned all years back, but that is something which is missing in this entire race to use AI, right? And the last C is our first thing which we spoke about, which is communication. So I said, right? So communication, I'm seeing a lot of people confuse it with fast speaking, English speaking, using big words. That is what's supposed to be communication. Right? That's not communication. Today, for example, I can tell you something. In most corporate giants, including us, a lot of HR processes, a lot of back-end operations, a lot of routine administrative functions are being outsourced to AI agents. Routine queries, policy queries, processing something on the system, all of this are being hived off to AI. But we have not eliminated human HR managers. So what will HR do? What is HR going to do if all of my performance goal setting is going to AI will do, my role change, AI will do it on the system. What will I do? What will my team do? Our core mandate has changed. What is our mandate now? Can you communicate difficult organizational changes? Can you coach employees through transition? Can you resolve complex interpersonal conflicts? Maybe AI flags it, but can you actually go and do the execution? Because that is something still an AI can't do. If there is a manager and his or her teammate fighting on the shop floor, we still are not there where AI can go speak to both of them, ensure a dialogue, and ensure that there is a conflict is resolved. Are you the person who can do that? If an employee is going through a transition, a work-related issue, or a personal issue for that matter, can you coach that employee? Because we're still not there where an employee can go down. Of course, there are AI tools for that as well, but we're still not there where a human being is trusting an AI completely to coach him or her through a very difficult personal transition. But can you do that? Can you communicate a difficult organizational change when there is significant amount of flux happening? These are things. So that is how the entire communication paradigm is shifting. So the question here is, as automated tools handle processing, handle analytics, career advancement of students will depend on human communication. And human communication, like I know I'm repeating myself, is not about talking big and loud. It's about empathy. Are you able to feel what the other person is feeling and then curate your response? Are you able to exhibit executive presence? Are you able to lead people around a vision, around a strategy? That is what communication is. And lastly, positive 1P, which I personally hold very dear, is positivity, which you can also talk as resilience and adaptability. So today, for example, as more and more AI coding tools come into the play, there are many software engineering teams where junior developers are facing anxiety. They're saying that my core skill, which is writing code, which is writing syntax, is being automated away. So what will I do? But people who are panicking or resisting that AI adoption are falling behind, as opposed to people who are approaching that with positivity, saying that, okay, let me work with AI as a pair, right? AI and me as a pair programmer. Let me, whatever code I generate, let me, automate that, taking the help of AI. Can I elevate my role to, doing more of architecture and less of coding? Can I design a product faster? Right? So the point is, the rapid technology will mean that job description will change. It has changed. In fact, it has already changed. And this will happen repeatedly. Unless you are positive, unless you're adaptable, unless you're resilient, unless you have that very cliched thing called growth-oriented mindset, right? Unless we have that, unless our students have that, we will not be able to treat disruption as a lever, which will help us. We will treat disruption as a threat, which will hinder us. That is what I had pretty much. So, like I said, I did not really want to go into the bells and whistles of do this in AI, do that in AI. What are some of the critical abilities, whether it is critical thinking or communication or content or context that we want to develop in our classrooms today, which is really going to be the differentiator between what we can be in the future and what we might end up to be. I will stop here and I will take questions. We can take maybe 2-3 questions. I know we are a little over time, but we can do that before handing it back to Diksha and Shraddha. So any quick questions?
So one question from my side, Bobby.
Yeah.
What are the challenges you face at work when youngsters join? So do you think they lack something which educational institutions should have educated them?
Shraddha, in MBA colleges, we have a clear 2 years with students, right? It is like 365 into 2, right? So you have some 800 days with them.
Yes.
In a BTech or a engineering curriculum, they have 4 years. This is critical time. This is critical time. All these competencies that I spoke about are things which can be developed. And trust me, there are times when we think that, this person has not developed this content, communication, whatever, in all these years. Now, do you think I can do it in 2 years? I can assure you it's absolutely doable. It's absolutely doable. However, we have to focus on the right things. I am repeatedly talking about communication, so you must be sick of me saying it. I am so disappointed when I see people not spending time in developing content and thinking that they can just communicate and get away with it. You can't. You can't. Unless you read 5 books on performance management, you will not develop that core competence in terms of knowledge. And once you do that, you have to do at least 2 internships, which are not internships which you do by sitting in the library and reading the old internship reports which have been filed. It is actually in going to the shop floor, talking to the workers, talking to people, filing your report, making 20,000 mistakes, then coming back to your guide, getting it correct. That's the internship. Unless you do these 2 things, you don't have domain expertise. Whatever you talk is fluff to me. Context comes much later. Context comes sometimes with experience. I can understand that completely, but content has to be there. Today, skill is your passport. And it's not just for students. It is for me, it's for you, it's for everybody. Skill is your passport. And skill is the behavior that you exhibit. I could know hazard things about, whatever, how employee satisfaction surveys are framed. But unless I'm able to actually frame an employee satisfaction questionnaire, decide the assumptions, the hypothesis, roll it out, get the participation, do the reporting, share the analytics, present it to the board, that is where the skill is. You can read 20,000 books, I don't care, right? So the reason I'm stressing on content is it is the first step. भैया पहले content तो develop करो, उसके बाद you can go to context, then you will get clarity, and keep communication and curiosity there. And curiosity not for the sake of curiosity. And why I'm saying this is sometimes also students feel that if I need to be visible, I need to ask 5 questions. That 5 questions could be absolutely random questions which the person has not even thought about it. Don't ask such questions. Think through. Ask 2 questions, but those are questions you really need to know the answers to. You really can't understand, which is contextual and relevant. So keep that curiosity. Communication and curiosity are underlying competencies that have to be there. Content is the one that you have to build on top of it. So communication you have to develop every day, right? You have to read a book, you have to read a paper, you talk to yourself in the mirror. All of us know that. You enter into debate competitions. All of that you do as part of your everyday life. And curiosity, you ask questions. But based on these 2 baseline competencies, what do? You develop content. And unless that comes in, we will have a generation, I'm worried, which is going to be very, very shallow. So today, like most of you know, the entire learning framework has changed into a T-shaped or even a comb-shaped rather, where you need to have deep expertise in at least one area or 2-3 adjacent areas. Unless you have deep expertise, that piece is not going to. Sorry, long answer to a short question.
Bobby, thank you so much. So students are depending too much on AI, so they need to develop their content, read, experience, apply, and develop their content. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shraddha, and thank you, Diksha. It's been wonderful talking to all of you, and wish you all the best for the rest of the session.
Thank you.
Okay. As we conclude today's session, I would like to take this opportunity to express our heartfelt gratitude to everyone who has contributed to this session. On behalf of the Regional College of Management, I extend our sincere gratitude to Ms. Bobby Patnaik for her insightful knowledge. Now, I request Professor Shama Shivani Mishra to take over from here.
Thank you so much, Diksha ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. Now it is my privilege to introduce our esteemed resource person of the next half of the session, Dr. Shraddha Padhi, who is currently serving as the additional director at Regional College of Management, Bhubaneswar. She brings with her more than 30 years of rich experience across academia, corporate leadership, and consulting. Over the years, she has held several distinguished positions, including Global Consultant Tech Mahindra, Chief People Officer at CSM Technology, Senior Vice President, Head People and Culture at Purple Finance, and Professor of Organizational Behavior and Human Resource at KIT School of Management. A highly respected HR strategist, leadership mentor, and the coach, Dr. Padhi, has made significant contribution in the area of leadership development, organizational culture, behavioral education, coaching, mentoring, and talent management. Her academic qualifications include a PhD in organizational behavior and HR, an MBA in human resource, and LLM from Utkal University. This is unique blend of academic depth and industry experience makes her exceptionally well suited for today's session. Now, please join me in extending a warm welcome to Dr. Shraddha Padhi. Ma'am, the stage is all yours. Please, ma'am.
Thank you, Shama, for the nice introduction. Thank you. So today morning, when I was coming to office, I entered office and I looked into Dean Management's cabin and I saw him worried with a piece of paper, looking at the paper, and I could see he's just worried. So I asked him, what happened? Then he showed me the paper. In the paper, so he had highlighted two lines. So two faculty members, Harini and Isha. So their attendance, one person's class attendance dropping rapidly. So Harini is a very, very excellent professor, gold medalist with great experience, but her class attendance is dropping drastically. A month's report, it's dropping. And another young faculty whose attendance is 91%. And he was saying, how come my top performers' attendance, class attendance is dropping rapidly? What do I do? Then all faculty members here, so what choice he has? Can we just write in chat what choice he has? So every day we come across a lot of issues and challenges, and we have to resolve those issues and challenges. So now this question to all esteemed faculty members who are attending. So I'm sure all of you can relate to this issue. So what one can do? So what choice as faculty you have? So I'm waiting for some answer. One discussion to understand their justification. Okay, so classroom, as a teacher, what is that you do? So you attract your participants to come regularly to the class. In last 4-5 days, we have been talking about impact in the class and uses of AI in the class. What are the tools we can use in the class? So what is that you can do so that your attendance is high every day? Students are eager to come and attend the class. Empathetic teaching, find out real cause behind the failing of attendance. Okay. Empathetic teaching, human connect. I'm sure all of you are demonstrating this in the classroom. All faculty members. So we have our own toolkit to use in the classroom. So now after 30 years of experience, when I enter into the class and look at my students, I really feel scared. What is that I bring to the class so that I engage my entire student pool? Do I need to crack jokes? Do I need to do some simulation? Do I need to do activities? Do I need to give some assignment to them? Do I need to show my presentation in the class? So what is that we can do? In the previous session, Bobby very rightly said communication, content, and creativity, curiosity. So in today's session, let's focus on curiosity. So how we can ignite curiosity in the minds of students so that they're engaged in the class and they focus in the subject and they come every day to the session and learn something on their own. Heavily dependent, so they're heavily depending on AI. So AI information, can we give information to them? So if we look at traditional method of learning, so how learning started? So Gurukul method, if we look at Gurukul method, so what was happening earlier days? Guru will come and all Sishyas, they will just listen to what the Guru is saying. Guru was having extreme wisdom or knowledge. He would come and talk about or teach them, and the students will recite what the Guru is saying. So in Gurukul method, so that was happening. So gradually the learning method changed. So what happened? Industry 1.0 to 4.0, if we look at the revolution or evolution of academic learning. So after British rule, so what happened? Colonial structure came into colleges and schools. Then in digital era, everything has changed. So people heavily depend on AI. So in this AI age, when all the information available on fingertips, what is the role of a teacher? Can teacher bring in knowledge to the classroom? Or how we can bring in that application in the classroom? Whatever limited knowledge a teacher is having, 100 times or 1,000 times more information student can get it. So while working on this particular presentation, today's presentation, when I asked Notebook LM or Claude or some tool, they gave me huge information. Now the choice is, how do I filter those information and find out what is relevant and what is not relevant? Let's understand by asking question. How many times we ask question to our students? What is that toolkit we bring to the class? Do I go to the classroom with my PowerPoint presentation? Do I go to class with my notebook? Do I go with some activity plan? Or do I ask question to my students to come up with some ideas, thoughts? So let's understand this through a small activity. So the moment I see senior faculty is here, I really feel scared. What is that I'm teaching everyone? So I would imagine or assume that this is my participant group in 6th standard or 7th standard. The first question to all of you, do you know what climate change is? So I'm just looking at the chat so that so let's go through a small activity. So what is climate change? So do you know what climate change is? So I'm asking a question. So I will take you through a series of questions to understand a concept or a thought. So how we can bring in question in the classroom, questioning skill in the classroom. So do you know what climate change is? If I'm asking this question, so how you would answer this? So this question to all participants. So anyone who can tell what is climate change? So am I behaving like a teacher and change in temperature? Suppose I ask this question, so I get answers like change in temperature, shifting of current environment to another. Then I ask question like what are the three causes of climate change? So what are the three causes of climate change? So why I'm asking this question to you? So any subject we bring to the class, can we start with question? Ask student to understand the concept, think about it. So today's classroom, we are just giving information. Most of the time we give information and students may not like information. So natural reasons, pollution, concrete jungle. So what are the three causes? We talked about it. Now the third question is, why do some claim that climate change is the biggest crisis this generation is facing? So why do some claim that climate change is the biggest crisis this generation is facing? So these questions, misuse of irreplaceable resources. Now look at all the answers you're giving. So we'll go through the answers to understand burning fossil fuels for energy, cutting down forest and agriculture and livestock farming. And the next question is, so I asked what question, why should I as a teacher be concerned about this issue? As a teacher, why should I be concerned about this issue? So may the next generation think about it. Why I need to think about it. We are witnessing floods, rise in temperature. All right. How your perspective is different from. So Lipsa, I see Kavita, Lipsa, Manoj sir giving answers. How your perspective is different from others' perspective. Can you see that from the answers? I'm in the planet and my planet is suffering. Yes. So sitting at Bhubaneswar, how it is impacting me. So I asked all this question and not for getting the answer. As a teacher, it's my responsibility to keep sensitizing students on the core responsibility towards environment. Wonderful. Increase in carbon dioxide. So why I was asking this question, this is not a climate change session. Why I was asking this question, most of the time, teachers ask low order question to students. So maybe some yes, no question, very low order question to students. Can we keep in our repository some high order question? Research says 80 to 90% questions asked in the class are low, very low order question. If we ask some high order question, so what comes in low order question? Why and how? These questions, when we ask in the class, that really forces the students to think. So am I asking all low order question, or in the class I'm asking high order questions so that I'm igniting thought in the minds of the students? So again, I will go back to my first story, where two faculty members teaching in the class, one person with highly educated with lot of content, not able to deliver in the class or not creating impact in the class, while a person with maybe less experience can create impact in the class. What is the difference? You're allowing the student to think and participate. So students, they whatever I'm observing now, every day is a learning experience for me also. When I talk to students, I go to the classroom and observe their behavior. It's a learning for me. Every day I learn. So if we are not allowing them to think and speak and read on their own or understand on their own, from Gurukul system to now the AI age we are in, we cannot bring that age-old methods of teaching in the classroom now. So we have to change our own self. Bobby was talking about flip learning. So every day I am learning from my students. So no shame in this saying that every day I learn from my students, so much knowledge they have. So how can we use that knowledge and make them bring in that value in the classroom, or when they go to the corporate, they bring in that value, the content, the corporate, we were listening from the corporate that the content is missing. Is it not our responsibility to give them that content? How can we give that content? Content is available everywhere. We have to make them read, make them understand, make them speak. The communication is also a challenge. How can we make them understand and learn? So one is asking them question. So how powerful question we can ask in the class so that we can make them think. So most important is to make them think, and they will explore, experiment, and come up with a solution and understand. The concept, giving the concept maybe 10% time, we can give the concept and allow the rest of the time to make them think and explore. So one small activity I want to do here, I'll show you something and you have to tell me what it is. And ask me only yes or no question. So what is this? So you want to see it one more time? I'm showing you something. Now tell me what it is. Teeth. Okay, some more answers. Giraffe. Pen. Yes, more answers. Three fingers. Interesting. Okay, I'll show you one more time. Okay. Backside of a pen stand. Bowl. Okay, what else? I will not take Ajit sir's response. Three fingers. Okay, now ask me question which I can answer with yes or no answer. Then I will give you the actual answer. Ask me question now. To understand what it is, please ask me question. Which is it related to teaching? Yes. Ask more question. Please ask me more question. Statue. Is it hard substance? Yes. Is it tool holder? No. Does it help in writing? Yes. All right. So why I'm doing this activity, that we must help students to discover. So if I tell you this is a pen, then you will forget about it, or you may not be excited about it. So once you yourself discover it, today's generation, they want to discover themselves. In the classroom, when the teacher is there, do you think really they think the teacher has all the knowledge? May not be. They believe that AI has a lot of knowledge, which is true also. When I can give 10 examples, AI can give 1,000 examples. So as a teacher, what is my role now? The role is changing. So from traditional method of teaching, the AI phase, every day new teaching method is coming. So Bani, VUCA world, everything's so uncertain for students. When I think about students, I really feel they're not privileged. In my time, so I had limited area to learn or experiment, and the sky is the limit for them, so they have to struggle a lot. The job market is changing so fast. What kind of jobs are available, they're not aware. It's so uncertain. Every month technology is changing, and the way of working, the business environment is changing. So they have to learn every day. They have to be equipped with knowledge or content. The content is also changing. So how they can bring in the discipline in their life to be curious, to survive in the changing environment. So that curiosity, we as faculty, we have that responsibility of building that curiosity in the minds of student. So how we can do it? By asking question and helping them discover and find out solution for themselves. So now we go to the next activity. So we started with methods, questioning. Then third activity we'll do is one more activity in business scenario. All of us know about Netflix story. In 2000, Netflix asked Blockbuster to, they wanted to sell themselves to Blockbuster for 50 million rupees, $50 million. And what Blockbuster did, they said, we don't want to buy. And Blockbuster at that point in time was doing excellent, thousands of stores they had, and Netflix was only giving DVD through email. And what question Netflix should have asked? Can you give me question Blockbuster before taking that decision of not buying Netflix? What was their thought? If you can imagine, as the CEO or MD of Blockbuster, what comes to your mind? And two question or statement I want from all of you, from Blockbuster's point of view and from Netflix point of view. So let's get some response from all of you. So all of you are behaving like students. So that's what is our role in the class, to make the classroom curious and make them do and get involved in the discussion. So even in mythology, if we look at mythology, the entire Mahabharata or Ramayana, that had started with a question. Arjuna was asking Krishna, what do I do? I see all my near and dear ones in front of me. How can I fight with them? And Krishna says, what happened to your determination? And that's how each chapter is question answer, which answers so many questions in our life. It talks about politics, dharma, reality, assumptions. So it talks about all that. So the question can open gate of wisdom. So now in business also, so each business, what question we are asking that lead to great strategies. So now from Blockbuster, what question they would have asked before not buying Netflix? Yes, expecting few Answers from audience? What kind of visitors per day does the channel get? Of course. So Netflix, they were asking what kind of visitors they're getting. Any finance? I'm going to ask a lot of question on this. So next 15 minutes, we are going to work on this. So initially, I started saying that only 10 to 15% of the time, a facilitator or faculty should talk. So now we are not faculties, teachers, or mentors. We are facilitators only. So we have to facilitate the session. So in this session also, it's your session. So you please participate so that we can make this interesting for everyone. Break-even point. So maybe Blockbuster asked, what is the break-even point of Netflix? Will it really increase my financial revenue, my turnover? Yes, Susmita madam, thank you for answering. Few more answers. So exactly Blockbuster asked how much revenue Netflix is doing. And the revenue was not very encouraging for them. So they didn't buy Netflix, turned down the offer. So after that, what Netflix would have done? So what question the CEO could have asked? So now from Netflix point of view, what answer or question you can ask? So this is a case, if we are doing this case in the classroom, how we can give this case to students and ask them to work on it. So can we just discuss about what are the few things we must understand when we are giving a case? What is that first instruction we can give? So when you give case studies in the classroom, what few instructions you give in the class? I'm sure all the faculty members must be using case study method in the classroom when we give a case in the class. So what instructions we give first? We give the case study to everyone. Then what is that they need to do when they read the case? So briefly, I'll tell you the case in 2000 Netflix uh, SWOT analysis. Yes, SWOT analysis, facts, issues, assumptions. So what assumptions they have, then solutions. So when we give these instructions to the students, then and encourage them to ask questions to find out all these facts and issues and read the case carefully, identify the key issues and challenges. Very true. So now we have finance professors, IT professors, operation professors, marketing professors, and HR professors. Now, if this case is given by all the departments in their class, what question you can give them so that they come up with relevant answer? So marketing, let's focus on marketing. So marketing professors, if you're giving this case in the class, so what question you want them to ask? Marketing strategy, okay? So from the case, you want the students to understand what is the marketing strategy. I'm talking about in 2000. So 2000, they wanted to sell, and the marketing team, they called all the departments and asked them to come up with some answer. So they asked some question and asked them to come up with answers. So what answer you're expecting, or what question you're giving to the students to get the answer, or in this case, the employees? Marketing strategy. And few HR or finance question. So here, Hitesh sir, you're giving the solution. So there is going to be paradigm shift in this. What is that? In Netflix or DVD viewing movies or videos. So there is going to be a lot of change in technology. Customer need or pain point. So what are the customer pain point? Yes, Kavita, thank you. What will be the target audience and positioning? So from marketing point of view, so we can ask what is the entertainment area will be? What will be the changing customer behavior? Why would customers shift to streaming? What happens to customer expectations when technology improves? So these are some marketing questions. Can be. What risk could affect Netflix future growth? Thank you so much. So how is the customer satisfaction score? So any case, when we are talking about any case where all the departments are involved, in class, in departments, all the departments, suppose we are taking a case and teaching them the issues and challenges of marketing in one class, and teaching them issues and challenges of finance, and teaching them issues and challenges of HR. So how we can weave this together and give them a holistic view of the business environment. So it's all about making choices in life. So in business, we make choices, we resolve difficult issues and challenges. So I'm leaving this question to all of you as faculties of different streams and different department. How can we understand our own subject, we understand issues and challenges of our own department. When we give that solution in the class, I'm sure student also can understand, but how they can have a holistic view of this case. What is that we can do so that they can have a holistic view? I'm just asking this question to everyone. So we are in a stage now where a lot of changes as faculty we have to bring in education system. So when things are changing, are we teaching students in silos? And we are unable to give them a holistic view. So when they're going and working in organizations, they're very confused. With so much of information, they're very confused how we can give them direction and discipline so that they understand the business scenario and they have that knowledge to analyze and come up with solution. So how can we do that? So the question, I don't have an answer here. So I'm asking all the professors, senior leaders to come up with an answer. What can we do in the class differently so that when they go to organization, they also behave differently and bring in a lot of value. in organizations. What is that we can do? Can I get few suggestions from this esteemed group? So we talked about how we can ask questions and make them curious. And we talked about how we can help them discover things rather than giving them solution. And we talked about how we can give them questions in different department wise, we can make them understand. And to give them holistic view, what is that we can do? So can I get few suggestions from this group? So industry related problem, Swagat Patel, Dr. Swagat Patel, thank you for giving this answer. And can you just elaborate it, unmute yourself if you would like to say something? We will be more than happy to hear you.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we can tell them what are the problems you may face in the future when you go to any industry, and if you do not do some certain things, then what are the problems that you may face in the future. So to avoid those problems, these are the solution. So they probably then only they may be interested. And otherwise, students most of the time they are interested in marks. Okay, give us the
Yes.
mark. But when you get the 90%, 95% mark and you are unable to solve any problem, when you go to the industry, you are unable to communicate, you are unable to do any tasks, then there might be a problem. Okay. So the industry, what the industry want is that whether you are able to complete the task or not. They will, after a certain time, they will not see your marks. Okay. Like in the IT field. And, they don't see you from where you are. If you can solve the problem, that's it. Even that 40% or a failure student can achieve a good position in a multinational company rather than a 90%. If a 90% cannot do certain work, then it's no use of that mark.
So truly, I totally agree with you, sir. So I think once I joined organizations, nobody has asked me how much I had scored in my graduation or my undergraduation. No one is asking me about the marks. So whatever you deliver, whatever you demonstrate is very important. So problem from the industry, very right you said, we have to get it from the industry. What are the issues, challenges they face, and how they can solve with solution we can give them. And it has to be continuous. The industry is also changing every once in a while. We see a lot of change in the working style of the industry, or a lot of changes we see in the industry. So constant input from the industry is important. So I'm just writing it down, all the uh, solutions I'm getting from this group, so that we can collate all the information, whatever we are getting. What other solutions we have? So constant input from industry. Yes, request others to give solution. So when I started this session, I was thinking I will not speak. I will just allow the participants to speak, but we end up speaking a lot in our class. So how we can make our participants speak, involve, think, and be highly curious. So what suggestion you have for that?
First of all, we need to make them comfortable. We need to tell them that it's okay if you are making mistake. Okay, because we are in a learning stage. Even the teacher is also in a learning stage. Most of the time, the students you learn, but from students also the teacher learns a lot. Okay, So first of all, we need to make them comfortable. Make mistake, no problem, absolutely no problem. And if they are making mistake, tell them you are very good. I mean, you made a mistake, very good, and this is the solution. And please don't repeat. Try to remember that. So we need to make them tell that yes, you are allowed to make mistake. So that is the biggest fear the students they face. They say, I mean, they feel that what if we make mistakes?
Yeah.
So make them comfortable first.
So Manoj sir is asking me to repeat the question. So here in the session, we have discussed that a traditional method of teaching may not work now. So things are changing. So the teacher has all the knowledge and teacher is there to impart the knowledge. That thought, maybe we have to change that thought. So the knowledge is available everywhere. They can get great knowledge from system or AI. So what is the role of a teacher now? To ask them relevant question and make them think. So it's very important for us to make them think. So questioning is important. In last 2 days, we were learning that in AI also, prompt is very important. What prompt you're giving so that you're getting right answer. So similarly, in the class, we have to ask them relevant question. So some higher order questions so that they understand, apply, create, and synthesize all the information. So they understand the entire journey, how they can acquire knowledge, they remember, they apply, then they create also, then entire thing they understand. So, what is the role of a teacher or facilitator? I will not call ourselves a teacher. We are only a facilitator now. So, as a facilitator, what is that I do in my class so that my students add value in the industry? When they start working, they can communicate, they should have all the content, and they should have clarity. So, everything they must have. What is that I do? So, Swagat sir was telling that we must give them constant input from industry. We have to make them comfortable and encourage them to make mistakes. And whatever mistakes they are doing, we have to encourage them. So, everything is changing very fast. I cannot say this is right. Suppose I'm saying something is right, you must take this decision. That may be wrong tomorrow. It may be true today, it may be wrong tomorrow. So they have to have that skill to explore and be curious, understand, and take decisions. So I'm trying, Manoj sir, I'm trying to collate all the suggestion from all of you so that we create plan of action for our own self. When we go to the class, what is that we take to the class and make it so interesting that everyday student come and attend our class. Manoj sir, is it clear now? So I want suggestion.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I know, Manoj sir, you bring in a lot of energy in the class. That is also very important, how you bring that energy in the class. And is it important to crack jokes in the class? Is it important to bring in little fun in the class? And what is that we can do so that our attendance will be 100% and the students who are going out, they are capable to face the changing world. So few more suggestions, then we close the session. Case study should be in 2 groups, one talk in for and the other group against. This will help them trickle their brain. So wonderful, Padma. So bring in competition and different perspective. Yes. So I'm just noting down, I will share it with everyone. So whatever suggestions we are getting, we should have our own action plan. So we are good and how we can be best. And every day we just move to the next level. So excellence is always handful away. So we may be excellent, but today's excellence will move tomorrow. So role plays to make it a little interesting. So we may do role plays. Yes, thank you, Padma.
Do we have any more questions?
So I'm just sharing whatever suggestions I got from let students use AI. We can ask them to verify, compare, critically evaluate its output. So wonderful, Kavita. We may get all information from AI, but how we can critically evaluate the information we get from AI? Bobby was giving some examples how in a law firm, the information used in law firm was not appropriate or wrong information. So we may get wrong information from AI. It's very important for students to understand that and critically evaluate that. We have to inspire, encourage students and bring in fun in the class, bring the wow factor in the class also. Yes, thank you so much for participating. The purpose of this session was how we can make our participants in the class participate wholeheartedly and be curious and be involved and discover themselves rather than getting information or knowledge from the faculty. Thank you so much, all the participants, for participating. Thank you very much. Over to you, Shama.
Thank you so much, ma'am. As we conclude today's session, I'm sure we all agree that it has been a truly enriching and inspiring learning experience. On behalf of Regional College of Management, I express my sincere thanks to Dr. Shraddha Padi for delivering such an enriching session and for sharing her valuable perspectives on bringing academia with industry. I would also like to thank our respected management, the organizing committee, our faculty members, and all the participants for their enthusiastic participation. With this, we conclude today's session. Thank you all for being such a wonderful audience. We wish you a pleasant weekend ahead. Before you leave, there is a request. A multiple choice questionnaire will be sent to you through WhatsApp groups or an email. Kindly fill it out for the certification reception. Thank you so much.